हेलो एंड वेलकम टू द सलाम नमस्ते कनाडा टीवी। मैं आपका होस्ट जलाल आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर। आप सब देख रहे हैं आप सबका फेवरेट शो ऑन चक दे टीवी। जी हाँ, कनाडा में तकरीबन जी हाँ लाखों में गाड़ियाँ चलती है। अगर आप यानी एग्जैक्ट नंबर लें फ्रॉम लास्ट ईयर तो वो है अबाउट जी हाँ 23 मिलियन गाड़ियाँ चलती है। तो उसमें से कितनों के रोज़ के जो है एक्सीडेंट्स भी होते हैं। कोई ड्रिंक की वजह से होता है, कोई स्पीडिंग की वजह से होता है, कोई सेलफोन की वजह से होता है, या तो कोई ड्राइवर जो है सो भी जाता है। जी हाँ वो अपने सो भी जाते हैं। तो आज जो है समझ गएंगे कि आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है कुछ ऐसा ही है। आज हम बात करेंगे जी हाँ सेफ्टी ड्राइविंग के बारे में, और उसके लिए बात करने के लिए हमारे पास एक बहुत ही प्यारी सी वेरी ब्यूटीफुल हमारे पास जो है गेस्ट भी मौजूद है, जो कि सेफ्टी मैनेजर हैं विथ साउथलैंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के साथ। लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरे को होस्ट अकबर एंड सलमा। अकबर, क्या हाल है आपका?
आपकी दुआ है जलाल भाई। अपने सिर्फ सुनने वालों को और देखने वालों को ये कहना चाहूँगा कि कुछ पिछले दिनों से मेरी तबीयत ठीक नहीं है। आई हैव गॉट फ्लू, सो लाइक थोड़ा बहुत मेरी ज़रा हालत जो कि सही नहीं है, तो आपको ये बर्दाश्त करना पड़ेगा। उसके लिए पहले ही मैं माजरत कर लेता हूँ। बाकी सब कुछ ठीक है जलाल।
चलो वेरी गुड। जी सलमा जी, आप कैसी हैं?
जी, सबसे पहले हमारे देखने वालों को सलाम, नमस्ते, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल, याली मदद, or good morning or good afternoon wherever you are watching us, and also good evening, you may be watching us in the evening. तो आप लोग सब कैसे हैं? उम्मीद है आपका हफ्ता अच्छा गुजरा होगा। अब हमारे जो ये हैं अकबर साहब ये बीमार है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है आवाज़ ज़रा अच्छी सी सेक्सी हस्की सी आवाज़ है। कोई बात नहीं, आप टॉलरेट कर सकेंगे मेरे ख्याल से। तो
और मुझे ना एक और प्रॉब्लम है, मेरे कान बंद है।
ओहो ये तो बड़ी मुश्किल हो गई।
नहीं, हम तो कुछ बोल भी नहीं रहे।
नहीं, आप देखिए, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि पता नहीं कुछ तो बोला है आपने।
अच्छा, गुन आवाज आ रही है
या वो गूंज रही है मेरे कानों में।
अच्छा।
और अकबर, पता क्या हुआ पिछले हफ्ते? क्या हुआ, जब मेरी गाड़ी खराब हो गई थी तो मुझे जो सलमा जी ने राइड दिया मुझे, तो इन्होंने कहा कि मैंने ब्रांड न्यू गाड़ी ली, चलो मैं तुमको राइड दे देती हूँ। मैंने चलो ठीक है, तो हम बैठे गाड़ी में बैठे। फिर उन्होंने कहा कि विंडोज नीचे कर लो, इसलिए कि मैं बहुत जो है तेज चलाती गाड़ी, तो बाल उड़ेंगे तो अच्छा लगेगा। तो मैंने ठीक है चलो, फिर मैंने विंडोज डाउन कर ली। तो फिर सो देन वी स्टार्टेड टू गो। तो बहुत फास्ट जा रहे थे, तो थोड़ी देर हुई तो ये कहने लगी कि क्यों हमारे बाल नहीं उड़ रहे। मैंने कहा सलमा जी पहले जो गिर में तो जो गाड़ी डालो।
ये अपनी कहानियां बना रहे हैं आप, जैसे जलाल को सुनिए आज ये गाड़ियों के बारे में, तो अपनी गाड़ियां कहानियां बना के आप लोगों को सुना रहे हैं।
चलो ओके, चलो वो तो हमारा जोक था। और इसलिए आज का जो टॉपिक है वो आपको ड्राइविंग के बारे में है, तो बड़ा सूट होता था। अच्छा। आज वी आर एक्चुअली ऑनर्ड एंड यू नो वी आर वेरी, you can say, the fortunate to have Andrea of course Silverthorne from Southland Transportation. How are you, Andrea?
I'm great, thanks.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. Of course. First of all, thank you very much for for your time and everything. And so why don't we start from yourself? If you can tell us about your introduction, who are you, and of course, who do you work for and everything, just for our viewers.
Sure. My name is Andrea Silverthorne, and I'm the safety manager at Southland Transportation for Southern Alberta. And Southland Transportation provides all kinds of passenger transportation all over Alberta.
Right. So if I ask you, what is the difference between good drivers and and a safe driver?
Well, a good driver is a driver that makes safe decisions. So it means that they don't do anything that is going to put themselves at a risk. So speeding or cutting people off, knowing where they need to be to get to where they're going.
Good.
Okay, so I have a question. How come this name of Southland was put to this transportation? Was there a reason for that, or it was just chosen like that?
I believe the family chose the name Southland. I don't know where the name originated, but we have been in business for over 45 years.
45 years, oh wow.
Started off with one bus.
Okay.
And we're now over 1,200 buses.
1,200 buses, yeah.
That's amazing. Like I think nowadays, because of the winter driving, we should know how to be very cognizant of driving, because a lot of accidents actually happen because of the negligence. And what you guys actually have as a major, which you instruct your drivers to be safe, and do they actually go through a formal training or
Yes.
Okay.
They do approximately 40 hours of training. And
it is required by the company, or it is required by the law?
A little bit of both.
Both, okay.
So there's provincial standards that they have to meet, and they have to qualify for a Class 2 license through the provincial government.
Okay.
And they spend quite a bit of time training both behind the driver's seat as well as in classroom, learning different things.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, so like like nowadays we have a winter here. So what do you think, like the normal people should do before he jump on the road?
Well, I think everybody that's sharing the roads out there needs to give themselves extra time on the road.
Yeah.
So they're
That's-
not in a hurry, where they can be patient when it comes to the traffic jams and whatnot, because everything runs a little bit slower, as we all
Right.
know. And just making sure that you're increasing your distance from
Like
the
the following
vehicles
distance.
in and around
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
right? Increase your following distance, increase your stopping distance. You don't want to get caught by slippery road conditions.
That's right. So, have you ever had any complaints about the drivers from the passengers? Like they are not safe drivers, and what are the most major complaints? Like, are they using cell phones, or they are not driving well, or they are eating while driving? Like, what are your most complaints?
You mean about the general public?
Yeah, general public, who like about the drivers, the bus drivers.
Well, and I think the biggest thing that the bus drivers find is that people don't want to follow a school bus. So they
Okay.
always want to get in front of that school bus. And they don't realize that the school bus is actually quite a large commercial vehicle that, the stopping time, it takes longer to stop a school bus than it does a regular vehicle.
Yeah.
And so sometimes our drivers get cut off quite a bit because people don't want to be behind the school bus.
Okay.
And then just basic people traveling too fast for the road conditions when it's congested or when the road conditions are poor.
So, what is the age when they can start driving the
A
school bus? Yeah.
We ask that they have 5 years of driving experience. So if they've gotten their license at 16, we've had drivers as young as 21 driving
Yeah?
a school
Wow.
bus.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It is a big responsibility, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's just right for that person.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, like you said, like, is it just a school bus, or like, is there any other form of transporting, like you guys actually offer as a service?
We do school busing all throughout the province, and we also do employee transportation. So we'll provide transportation for employee groups. We do commuter runs from Cochrane and from Okotoks. We also are doing the new On It from High River and Turner Valley, and that's coming into the south end of the city. And we also do transportation for Access Calgary. So,
So-
paratransit.
So it is actually just within this province, Alberta?
Yes.
Okay.
We are part of a bigger company called Pacific Western Transportation,
Okay.
which is in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Yukon, and Ontario.
So, are these buses also they can be chartered for other uses also?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
do weddings, we do golf tournaments,
Okay.
we do pub crawls,
Okay.
we do all kinds of whatever people need, multiple people transportation.
That's
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
It's
Of course.
amazing.
So, for the buses, people need a Class 2 license.
Correct.
Okay, so if I make you the minister of in transportation, and if you look at the book for the Class 5, would you make any changes?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think one of the things that's lacking out there on the roads is people don't understand or respect the commercial vehicles.
Right.
And not just school buses or not just buses in general, but all the large vehicles that are out on the road, that they need more space out on the road. And I find that a lot of times people don't necessarily understand
Yeah.
what's required for the bigger vehicles.
Of course, of course, it comes. Let's say the Calgary Transit or the bigger trucks. So of course they need a more room to turn either left or
Yeah.
right. So they have to be the cars behind them. They have to be careful, when they're turning. So it doesn't hit them, because it's very easy to have the collision like that way. Yeah. Yes, Sonali?
Yeah, I asked the question before this question. My question was, what are the major complaints about the drivers from the passengers who are sitting in the bus, that this driver was not safe and what he did was not right? What are the complaints you normally get?
Usually distracted driving.
Distracted, yeah.
Yeah.
Like what?
And it
Like
causes
what?
them to make unsafe lane changes, or they'll make sudden changes out on the roadway. So, instead of traveling straight through, they might make a sharp right turn and brake heavily before then.
Oh, I
So
see.
just basic distracted driving would
Yeah.
probably be the biggest.
So, and I see lots of time when you're passing beside the bus and there are school children in there. So do they have bus monitors to control the kids? Sometimes kids could be distracting the driver. Do you have anything like that?
No, we
No,
don't. So
you don't.
when
Okay.
you see the big school buses
Yeah.
out there, there's just the driver.
Just-
and so the driver.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Sometimes these kids could be
Yes.
so distracting the driver because they are young and they have had a whole day of school and they are tired and they're impatient. They want to be home. Like all these things can make them little hyper. Like, oh, I need to reach home. I'm hungry. I want to be home with my mom and with my siblings. Like all these things.
And-
It's hard for the drivers. Like
Can be, but
Yeah.
we train the drivers to have
Yeah.
good student management.
Okay.
So they work with the students.
Okay.
They educate the students and teach the students so that the students kind of understand what's expected from them on the school bus.
Okay, so all this training goes on,
Yes.
yeah, for them, yeah.
And we also train our drivers not to fall victim to the distractions, that if something's happening on the bus, that they get the bus pulled over and secure the bus so then they can deal with any issues on the bus.
Okay, yeah, it's a lot of commitment, and these drivers have to be so.
Yeah, you need the patience.
Yeah,
A
so
lot of
much patience, yeah.
Because without patience, I think it's going to be difficult
Yeah,
to
it
for the
is. It
driver.
must be. I can
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
It's a very
yeah.
big responsibility.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because
There's so many.
if you can, if you look at it, when you want to stop the car, it takes few seconds.
Yeah.
But to stop a bus, if
Bus.
it's full, it takes longer time to stop.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy. You can just slam the brake and done. No. So
Yeah.
the front car has to be signal left or right if they're turning, or if they want to brake or something. So it's
Yeah.
easy for the bus driver, either Calgary Transit or any other bus driver. It's
Yeah.
easy to stop for them.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they have to plan it. They
Yeah.
can't just stop it. They have to
Stop.
plan to stop.
Before, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So Andrea, do you like sports?
Love sports.
What about hockey, NHL?
I usually start following NHL during the playoffs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So they just had kind of the news last week. That's 100th year for the NHL, and they were talking about 5 players who made an impact on the game. There was a Gretzky, Lemieux, Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin, and now they're talking about McDavid. We hate Edmonton, but we love this guy. We love McDavid by the way he plays. Yeah, fast. So about, of course, we were just talking about the winter. So what do you, if you want to give some tips, for the winter? Of course, we talk about already, but like if you're driving, if you have a passengers, what do you do?
Well, most important thing is before you even hit the roads, make sure that your vehicle's ready for the roads. I highly recommend winter tires.
Yes.
And making sure that everything's working properly in your vehicle, like your defrosters, so that you can see out your windows.
Yeah.
And clean off your vehicle.
Because I've seen the cars in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the cars in the morning. They don't brush their, they don't clean their windshield.
Yeah.
When they just started to go, I was like, geez.
That's not safe. So for the passengers, do you, supposing it's really, really cold, so is there any provision in the bus if bus gets stuck somewhere and there is any blankets, extra blankets or all those things? Because we are advised to put these things in our car, the first aid or the blanket or the flashlight and all these things.
Right.
So the bus has the same.
The bus has the proper
So,
emergency
equipment.
that it needs to have.
Yeah.
We don't have individual blankets for all the kids.
Okay, no.
I mean, some of these buses can have up to 70 kids on them.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Yeah.
We do educate the families to make sure that the kids are dressed
Properly dressed,
for
yeah.
Yeah.
the weather.
That's important.
And in the event that something happens with the bus, whether it gets stuck or it breaks down, that we have rescue buses out
Yeah.
there. That
Okay.
We would send a rescue bus
Right away.
to a bus,
Yeah.
pretty quick.
Okay, that's a good thing. Yeah, because like with these winter
Because if it's a minus
conditions,
30, 40, if the bus breaks down.
yeah, so then it's so not right for the passengers, right?
Well, and
Yeah.
the kids need to be dressed
Dressed properly, yeah.
Absolutely.
Dressed
And
for
we
the weather.
see sometimes the kids are rushing for school and they are not dressed properly, and that is a no, but we see these things all the time. Yeah,
does
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
So what about drivers? Do they have authority? They if if any kid is not wearing, let's say, the jacket or anything, they have authority to go get your jacket. Or we can advise them.
The drivers really don't have time to send a student
Yeah.
home to
That's true,
go
too.
and get a winter
Yeah.
jacket or
Yeah.
anything. But I mean, the drivers will say, it's better that you have.
It's minus 30 and you are wearing shorts.
Yeah. I hope
You're
not.
wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. So usually it's just developing that relationship between
Right,
the driver
right,
and the students, so that there is a
Yeah.
good respect between
Yeah,
them,
between.
Yeah.
and the kids will
yeah.
listen to the driver.
Yeah, of course.
That's amazing. I think like a company like Southland has very good procedures in place just in case of emergency. Like I just want to know like when you started like 45 years ago, I want to actually take you back to that
I
time.
wasn't
You were not here, or like anything like you can actually share like how the transformation
It
actually
has happened,
happened,
yeah.
and the evolution of your company. If you can actually speak to us about that.
Well, the rules and the regulations are constantly changing and improving, making sure that the safety of the children is,
It's
paramount.
yeah.
It's the most important thing that we do every day. The biggest thing that Southland doesn't do is we don't use our 8-way light system in the cities.
What was that? Sorry.
We don't use the 8-way light system,
Okay,
so we don't
okay.
use the stop sign.
Okay.
And that is something that it's an education piece for the kids to understand that, they don't have that right of way to cross in front of the bus or behind the bus. Or anything like that.
Okay.
But traditionally speaking, there hasn't really been a whole lot of changes within the industry. It is basically the same, transporting the kids to and from school.
So
Yeah.
what is your competition? Is it like mama's vehicle or papa's vehicle or what? The competition is that, I guess. Pretty much.
Like driving a long minivan.
I love to be actually in an industry like yours with no competition at all,
Yeah.
Well, actually, there is quite a bit of
Really? Okay.
competition out there.
Yeah?
There's a number of school bus companies in the province.
Oh,
and
is that
across the
right?
country.
Okay.
And it's the one industry that is worldwide.
Okay.
There are
Wow.
school buses all over, and different countries experience different types of
True.
vehicles. But for the most part, when you see a school bus, it's usually yellow.
It's yellow all over the world.
Yeah, all
That's the
over.
thing.
Yeah,
And-
it is.
Yeah.
So, approximately how many drivers you would say you have for your
For Southland?
Southland? Yeah.
We have about 1,200 drivers in the province.
1,200.
Wow.
And what's the age, average age, around 21 to what, like when are they supposed to retire at certain age, or they can, if they are okay, they can continue? Is there an
As
age?
long as they can continue to.
Is that right?
They can drive.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
When you have a Class 2 driver's license,
Uh-huh.
you have to renew it, and you get to a point where you renew it every year.
Okay.
And every time you renew it, you have to pass a Class 2
Class 2.
medical.
Okay.
So you have to go to a doctor and they
Yeah.
test you to make sure that you're physically and cognitively capable.
So there's no retiring age in Southland transportation. Oh, that's great. So that
So
people
Andrea,
who are
last-
retired in other fields, they can go and give their Class 2 test and they can become drivers.
Yeah, they
Oh,
can drive. I mean,
nice.
like it is. Yeah, it is
that's
actually
right.
a kind of thing like if you are healthy enough and if you
Yeah.
pass the test, then
Yeah.
you can actually.
And if you have patience, you can drive. It's all, yeah, of course.
That's
of course.
right.
We have a number of people that come to us and they're semi-retired from their full-time
Yeah,
career, and they
yeah.
just want something that gets them up in the morning and
Yeah.
pays for their golf or pays for
Yeah,
their
that's
walking
right.
and-
I know
That's
a friend of ours. He was he had a second company, and he had it for longest time, and then they sold it because they were getting tired. And then he wasn't doing anything. He was so tired of sitting at home, and one day he decided he wants to become a bus driver. But he just didn't want to drive the bigger bus, but
Yeah.
he drives the small buses
Small
for the
buses.
shorter routes.
Yeah, yeah.
So he does it. He lives in Hamptons, and he does that. And when he told it, I said, "That's so nice. You're being useful to the society." and that's so important.
It is
Like,
very purposeful.
isn't it?
It's very
Isn't it?
rewarding.
Yeah, and I was really pleased and very happy for him. I said, you are doing a great job. Yeah, and lots of people who get depressed, who have nothing to do, and there's a mandatory retiring age in their company or at their work or whatever, they have to be retired and at home. And they're still young, because 65 is so young right now, so that is a good
Nowadays,
thing.
Bollywood actors are actually reaching to that.
There we go.
So it's a good motivation when you say.
The kids keep you young too.
Yeah, that's right.
that's
And
That's right.
this is the responsibility. It's not
Yeah.
like, piece of cake.
No,
anyone
no,
can
it
have.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the responsibility because
It keeps your mind going
Yes,
also,
keep
that's
you
good for
fresh.
your physical and your emotional well-being,
Yes. And then you're
that's so
talking to
good.
managers like, Andrea, so it's all good. So Andrea, I think it was last year or like maybe year before, when they opened the new airport. And we saw so many Southland buses were going there on
did.
like on a runway instead of planes.
Yep.
Well, yeah, what was all that about? If you can tell us about it.
That was an introduction to the new runway, and the runway was specially built for a certain type of airplane coming in.
Yeah.
And so they had basically a big party out on the runway, and our buses were bringing people from all over
Yeah.
the province from the parking lot down onto the runway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This way they were able to control all the traffic on the runway. So we had over 40 buses on
40
the runway.
buses.
And I got photos of our buses
Oh.
driving beside the airplanes.
Oh.
Runways.
Yeah,
So
nice.
And I think the mayor was there too, wasn't it?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not. There was quite a few government officials.
Is that right?
So,
Yeah,
Oh,
great.
that's
Yeah,
neat.
that was really neat.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was when they started.
It's like a
that,
once in a lifetime you get the opportunity,
Yeah.
to bring the bus on a runway.
Yeah.
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 Drivers had a great time that day.
Wow. So, it's not only, of course, the school buses, because you do, of course, so many charters, I can include our Stampede.
Yeah.
Calgary Stampede, you guys are busy as well. Or Stampede is games, you have the shuttle buses going on.
Yeah, we do shuttles for the Calgary Flames. We do Global Fest.
Global
We do
Fest,
the
yeah.
Shaw Charity
Yeah.
Classic.
Sure, wow.
We've done the PGA or the LPGA in the past. We do charters all over the place.
So the drivers for the school time and for these charter times are different, or you can use the same drivers?
We can use the
Same drivers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get trained a little bit differently on doing
Differently.
the charter work. And
Okay.
a lot of times when we have large events, myself being the safety manager and my safety team will be
Yes.
out there to make sure that everything
Yeah,
runs smoothly.
because it would be a little different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
So what would be the because there are a lot of people who are actually listening to us right now on the TV, they might be interested in this career. So what they need to do, what will be the first step
Yeah.
in order to
They
be
can check us out online on our webpage at southland.ca.
Southland.ca?
And,
Okay.
everything's there. It shows all the different types of buses that we use. We've got everything from Mercedes Sprinters all the way up to the big highway coaches.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so-
they can contact our charter department to get quotes on what their needs are.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow.
I mean, so for the career section, if they want to become a driver, that's what I'm actually asking.
Oh,
Yeah.
they can apply online as well.
Online. Okay.
And then
Do they need to actually get the class 2 beforehand, before contacting you, or is it something you are actually going to help them?
it's actually something that we provide the training for, and
Okay.
we
Okay.
also provide the on-road testing for Class 2.
Oh,
as
is
well.
that right? Oh, that's
So
easier
you just
then,
have to
yeah.
have a class 5 to start.
Yeah.
And I believe 3 points or less.
3 points or less, and it can't be a GDL, so it
Right.
can't be a new
Graduate,
license.
yeah,
They
advanced
have to
license.
have done the Class 5 advanced.
Class 5.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So they'll provide you, of course, they'll give you the training and provide you the
The
of
class
course,
2 then.
Class 2 license.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So do you like Bollywood? Have you been?
I haven't been.
No? Nothing, Of course, viewers probably laughing too. So of course, you were on our radio show last year. Now the TV show. Next year we'll be we'll be kind of making a movie. So hopefully we can get you into. So you have to learn a couple of words here and there. So of course it will help us.
You'll have to teach me.
So if you can just say Chak De. That's our TV name as well.
Yeah,
like our
Chak
station
De.
name as well.
Chak
Chak
De?
De. Chak
Yeah.
De.
And then we have to explain to her what Chak De means.
I don't know either. I just know the station. I just know check the footage. It means do whatever you want. That's what it
Right,
is.
yeah.
Andrea, so if I had to ask you, how does your day start? What do you do first thing in the morning? If you can just run by your day.
My day usually starts and I get into my safety supervisor vehicle and I will go out to one of our yards where we'll have anywhere from 75 to over 200 buses in a yard.
Right.
And I just go and I talk with our drivers and I give them any assistance if they need anything, answer any questions if I can. And hopefully I can just drive to the office shortly after that.
Shortly after
We're
that.
usually on the roads when the school buses are out on the roads in
Right.
case they have any difficulties.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that's great.
So you're on the road as well, same
Yeah.
as the drivers. So if something happened, so what's your procedure if any accident happened? What's your procedure for viewers?
We make sure that everybody on the bus is okay. Driver and students, we make sure that whoever we've had the accident with is okay.
Right.
We get emergency services out to it. If we need to send out a rescue bus, we'll
Yeah.
send the rescue bus out to take the students off the bus and get them on their way to school. And then we've got a whole lot of paperwork to do.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So that's where your your work starts basically.
That's what
Then you
yeah.
take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because I've seen actually in a couple of buses they were they were exchanging the kids, they were going from the kids from one bus to another bus, but then they had a police escort. What was is it normal you guys call police just for the safety of the kids?
We'll call police if there's an opportunity for traffic to come up on the passenger side of the buses.
Okay.
To make sure that they're safe because
Yeah.
by law people have to slow down for the
Right.
police flashing lights.
Right, right.
So this way
So-
we ensure the kids are safe.
Kids are safe.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Do you have any question?
No, I just want to actually ask you about a particular matrix. So for example, if you take into consideration the historical data, right? So how you guys are actually progressing in terms of accidents? So how many accidents you had in the last 5 years? Is it going down or is it going up?
We measure our collisions by collisions per million miles.
Okay.
Because if we don't just measure it as to how many incidents we have, because our business is forever growing.
Okay.
And our drivers are decreasing the number of collisions that they're having.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Great.
And there's very few serious collisions that involve, a lot of property damage or injuries. And knock on wood, that our drivers have not been involved in any fatalities.
Oh,
God.
That's
great.
amazing. I think
Yeah.
that's very important as a company.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a strong case to actually put forward. Look, guys, we
Yeah.
are actually safest. So that's very good. I think that's something which actually keeps you in a limelight. Okay, this company has this
Yeah.
reputation. So
Well, we
which I'm glad to
actually-
hear.
We're monitored by Alberta Transportation.
Okay.
And we have what's called our carrier profile, and it's a report card for us.
Mm.
So
Ah.
we track that on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And so we know exactly where we're at, and we know where we stand in amongst our competitors as well as far as our safety rating goes.
And I actually sometimes notice that behind the buses, there is a telephone number if the driver is not something like
Yeah,
that. Not
distracted
So
driver, yeah.
so that the car behind can actually call that number and say look at guys, your driver was on the road and they were not driving properly.
Yeah.
Have you actually get those complaints as well?
We do get those phone calls,
Yeah.
and we always follow up with the drivers.
Oh,
and
okay.
Make sure that they're aware that a complaint is
It's being
coming on
made.
them,
Yeah.
and that if there's something we can do to help them out.
How many chances would you give to a driver? I mean, 3 complaints or 2 complaints? How many?
Well, you can understand that a complaint is one side of the story.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
we do take the complaint into consideration, but we also talk with our driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we feel that a road review is necessary
Yeah.
or retraining is necessary, then we provide that to our drivers to
Yeah.
make sure that they're the best that they can be out on the roads.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I
Yeah.
think all private cars should have that a number, distracted driver.
So who should they contact for you?
No,
For
to
the
the
husband?
police, straight police. So that way, they are careful because you see
Excuse me.
such drivers on the road, and then you're wondering what's going on.
No, I
like-
just had an incident. I was driving. It was a 30 zone. Okay, and it was just one lane in my community. The driver actually just passed me, had like a 60 kilometers per
Wow.
speed,
So
right?
this is
And
what
it
I'm
was
saying,
actually
yeah.
snowing.
And
Yeah.
look at this.
There
could
are
have
actually
hit you.
people like
He could
that.
have hit you.
Yeah.
They will
Yeah.
not. First of all,
And it's a playground
yeah,
zone, right?
and you can't
Yeah.
go, you can't pass in the playground zone.
Yeah.
And it's a single lane. That's another thing. And then he could have slipped easily. And
Easily.
he,
Maybe I was stopped for a kid,
Yeah.
and he didn't see the
Yeah.
kid, and he can
Bang.
hit.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think
what I'm
like
saying.
guys, I think हमें मैसेज भी देना चाहिए अपने देखने वालों को.
जी.
एंड्रिया ने बहुत अच्छी बातें बताई अपनी कंपनी के हवाले
जी,
से, लेकिन
जी.
इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट
हाँ.
टू डू लाइक अ सेफ ड्राइविंग. आई थिंक लाइक अगर हम कोई भी रिस्क लेते हैं और कभी जल्दबाजी में होते हैं, हम सब कभी कभार
Yeah,
होते
जी.
हैं, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि लाइक आप दूसरे की भी जान को रिस्क में डालो. So
and
that's very
also
important.
a matter of few minutes
Yeah.
will not is not a matter of life and
Yeah,
death. You know, if
that's-
you
Yeah.
are few minutes late somewhere, and it will not. It will save lives
Of course.
instead. Yeah,
Because
but people don't
safety starts
understand.
with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Safety
Yeah.
starts with us. You know, like
Yeah.
we have to start first ourselves.
yeah.
Otherwise, of course.
And they're so bad, sometimes so bad drivers, and you see they're just so close to your
Yeah,
car, and they
that's-
want, you know, like, move. Why should I move? I am driving properly, you are not.
Yeah, or you know, like दूसरी चीज like they can actually turn off and turn on like the
Headlights.
headlights,
Yeah, that's
just to give a signal that you are
Signal,
slow.
like, what? Why?
But
Why
I
you
say like, look at this like board. It's 30 zone, you
yeah,
know,
or
like
a 60 zone or a 50 zone, we are driving in a good
Yeah.
speed. But you are the people who are in a rush, and then they go in between, like these are the people who cause all the accidents for everyone, problems for themselves and for others.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
what we train our drivers is, if they want the road, let them have the
Let
Let
them,
them have
yeah,
it. Yeah,
they
that's
should be
right.
like that, yeah.
But
That-
people don't understand how much a collision could impact their life.
Yeah,
You know, whether you're at fault
Yeah.
with the collision or not at fault
Yeah,
with the collision.
that's
that
right.
Sometimes, you know, it's going to affect you up in your head or in your heart.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
something tragic might happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right, yeah, but
Yeah,
Defensive
so
driving.
you know, do you get any complaints from drivers? Okay, do you get
From
any
what?
complaints from drivers?
Uh,
Like, you know, parents they are parking in a bus zone
Oh,
or in a
absolutely.
school zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Must be,
There's only
must
one or
be.
two, maybe that's it.
Maybe one or two.
yeah, you must be getting it, yeah.
No,
So-
it's pretty common that
Yeah.
parents park in the bus zone at the schools or where the stop location is, where they're picking up the children or dropping the children off, that the parents will park there. And we try and work with the parents the best that we can so that they understand what the school bus drivers need to look after their children's safety.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, it's for their own kids' safety.
yeah, yeah,
It's not for, you know, of course, you know, like, you know, it's not about drivers, but it's about their own kids.
yeah.
And you know, sometimes, you know, of course, you know, well, I've seen it, you know. So parents, they are dropping off the kids on the other side of the road, and then the poor kid is just crossing by himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you
That's
say
so
about those
dangerous.
parents?
Well, I ask the parents to be, you know, earlier to the bus stop so that they have lots of time to properly walk their child across the street and make sure that they teach their child how to be safe out on
Yeah.
the streets. Because a lot of times if they don't teach their children how to have the street smarts, then when they get to that age where they're out there on their own, that,
Yeah.
you know, something might happen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is such an interesting thing, and I hope our viewers are getting a lot of tips from this, because there are some things which we normally don't talk about on
Exactly.
TV or on radio, but I think the safety of in driving regarding school or cars or roads is really important, and which sometimes we never discuss, and we are so glad that you are here today, Andrea, and you're talking such things that sometimes people don't even think about it, you know, like
because
it's-
because
yeah.
a few seconds
yeah,
can make a huge
such
difference in your
a
life.
such a huge difference. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah.
teaching the kids to be safe.
Yeah,
in
that
and
is the
around school
important thing.
buses,
That's
and
really-
Their bus zones is very
Yeah,
important.
it's really important. Yeah, yeah,
Because if something happens to that one student,
Yeah.
then it affects that whole community.
that's
True.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I very agree with you. So, you have any more questions, or
I
we are
just
okay with the
actually,
time?
I echo with you guys.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes we take things for granted. Whenever we see like a yellow bus and
Yeah.
we see that the school bus, we don't understand it thoroughly, right? But there are regulations that they have to actually abide by. And I think as a citizen, we should actually follow those regulations because it will help them, it will help us.
That's right.
Because if we all follow the regulation, then it is actually helping our kids. So I think which is our future, and we need to actually be very careful about our future.
And more kids
Yeah.
are being bused now
Yes.
because both parents are working. Before, lots of ladies were not working
Right.
a little while ago,
True, true.
but now more and more mothers are working. So it's lots of kids are being bused, and it's getting more important, the safety,
Safety comes
So I think we are so glad today
Yeah,
to
it's a
have
different
you.
topic, but
yeah,
it's
but
very
it's
important.
a very important
It's-
topic, I think, because all the mothers and parents who are watching us should have understood what are the safety rules regarding the driver and the bus and the children, and whoever is chartering the bus. It is really important
That's
for
right.
everyone to understand what are the safety rules. Yeah.
That's right. How many kids you guys take every day?
I'm not sure what Southland does,
Yeah,
but in
roughly.
Calgary alone, there's about 40,000 kids. that
40,000?
go trans-
Wow.
Every single day.
Every single day. Imagine.
Wow.
40,000
That's a lot of
children. Yeah. Yeah. The safety of these children
And it's
is
like in all season.
Yeah.
So if it is snowing, storm,
yeah,
whatever.
Doesn't
whatever.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's only by bus though, but
Yeah,
of course
and then
there
of
are a
course
lot of them.
the private will be
Private
so
cars
many
and
more, but we are
And
much
it's only
more
one
about the
city.
bus. Yeah, in one
It's
city.
only one city.
It's only one
yeah,
city.
one
City.
city,
We
yeah.
actually put more school buses on the road than Calgary Transit puts on the road.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that
Is that right, eh?
Oh, wow.
Wow. So do you guys get along?
We share the transit stops, and
Yeah, there you go. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
we
yes.
have drivers that have come to us from driving transit,
Mm-hmm,
and we have drivers that leave Southland to go drive for transit.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of
Yeah.
a small world.
Yeah.
Do you ever use Calgary Transit buses sometimes for schooling the children in the morning or in the afternoon? Do you use any?
I know the high schools.
Yeah,
use
that's
the
what
transit
I
buses.
remember
Yeah.
when my children were in high school.
Yeah.
I remember they were using Calgary Transit as a school bus.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
have the school buses as well, but
No,
they use
they
the white
use-
transit, white
They
bus,
use the
transit
transit.
bus.
Yeah, they used to. Yeah, yeah.
So it
Wow.
would be a little bit different because the kids would all be standing up on the transit
Yeah.
bus, whereas on the school
Yeah.
bus,
Yeah, they
stand up.
don't stand. Yeah, they're not allowed to. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Wow. So Salmanji, of course, whenever whenever actually I call the Southland, so I talk to a few people there. So I just want to thank them
Yeah.
because I bug them all the time.
That's-
So if I need anything, and of course that's why she's here. She was here last year as well. And then you know what? I think we talked to. Who was the manager? Chris, I believe, as well, before you came on last year. Yeah, so I think you are our regular customer now. Of course, I want to thanks to, of course, Manager Murray and the Curie. Of course, she is the assistant manager. And there are some, yard supervisors. Tabitha, Stacy, Shiv Maraji, Haji Namaste. Nancy, of course, and then Angela, Jessie from...
Charters.
From Charters, of course, Clarissa Charters, and there is one more, Andrea from Charters. Because whenever I think there is a charter kind of a big trip, so of course she's always there as well.
Absolutely.
I mean
Yeah.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you want to tell the kind of message to parents,
Yeah.
or before we end our program today, what do you want to say?
Well, work with our school bus drivers. They're there for the families and to be involved in the communities. And if you could just give the buses lots of room at the stop locations and respect the school bus zones at the schools, that would make their job a little bit easier.
And
Yeah.
use the signals, guys, left or right. That helps.
That's so important. Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so much.
Yeah, so we can still go on. We have some time. Akbar, you are
It's
taking the time.
actually आज मैं ज़रा टाइम देख रहा हूँ दोस्तों मेरे ख्याल से few minutes more about like 2 or 4 minutes
Yeah.
but I think like a lot of things that Andrea has discussed which we were not aware of
Yeah, we
right
were
I think
not,
it's
yeah.
very knowledgeable और हमें लगता है कि हमारे देखने वालों के लिए भी बहुत ज़्यादा knowledgeable होगा
जी.
so please guys like what she has said like just a little courtesy from us like will help like in a big time, you know.
Yeah.
माजरत के साथ और मेरे ख्याल से लाइक हमें ये करना चाहिए अपने बच्चों के लिए और मेरे ख्याल से आई थिंक लाइक एज अ सिटीजन ऑफ दिस सिटी वी हैव दिस रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टुवर्ड्स ऑल देम
That's right. तो साइमीन, हमारे आज का जो प्रोग्राम था वो बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट था क्योंकि ये चीज़ें जो हैं वो डिस्कस नहीं की जाती हैं ज़्यादातर प्रोग्राम इस टॉपिक पे नहीं होते हैं. तो वी आर रियली ग्रेटफुल टू एंड्रिया टू कम एंड टेक टाइम फॉर अस एंड टेक सम टाइम आउट फ्रॉम हर बिजी स्केड्यूल. इट्स अ संडे. शी कुड हैव बीन डूइंग समथिंग रियली नाइस विथ हर फैमिली और wherever or whatever, but she came and talked to us about a very important safety rules regarding the buses and drivers and and the telling such good information to the parents that how they can be useful to the society by obeying these rules and regulations.
And of course, Salma ji, why don't you talk about our event on 25th?
Oh, yes, sure.
Please, yeah.
So whoever is watching us, सलाम नमस्ते कनाडा एक बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम करने जा रहा है. उसका जो उनके जो गज़ल सिंगर हैं वो कैलगरी के बहुत ज़्यादा पॉपुलर निशिकांत बाली हैं और ये होने जा रहा है 25 फरवरी को मॉन्ट्रे पार्क कम्युनिटी सेंटर में रात के 8 बजे. द tickets are available with us and with so many other people like OK General in Calgary and the Amir Panwala in Calgary, and you can call us and it is $20 per person and it includes all the refreshments, very nice refreshments. So we are going to have a very fun, cozy ghazal and geet night on 25th of February. It is a Saturday, so please make a note of this in your calendar. And $20 will make you a good evening for you. It's not much and we'll all have fun and it's winter and to have these kind of cozy ghazal singing, it's going to be a fun night for all of us. So please don't forget it. Make a note of it. 25th of February at Monterey Park Community Center in Calgary.
But you have to buy, buy that, buy the ticket, kind of in advance.
Yeah.
If you come at the door, then you have to pay $25. So you lose money.
Penalty, $5.
You lose money. So make sure buy कर ले अभी से. OK जनरल स्टोर में अमीर पानवाला के पास या तो हमारे फेसबुक पर भी है, चकदे टीवी पर भी होगा. आप
और आपकी कन्वीनियंस के लिए अगर आप चाहें तो आप ऑनलाइन भी बाय
yes ऑनलाइन अभी बाय कर सकते हैं.
salamnamastecanada.com आप उधर चले जाएं और आप ऑनलाइन बाय कर सकते हैं. आपको कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप वहां से भी परचेस कर सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल. तो हम मिलेंगे आपसे 25 फरवरी को. मत भूलिएगा और कैलेंडर में नोट कर लीजिए. और हमारा लगता है कि अब
अभी टाइम हो गया.
अब हमारा टाइम हो गया.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, it was very
wonderful.
nice to talk
so
to
now
you.
Salma knows, she has to put the car in a gear first to go. So तो ये सामने आज का आपको जो है सलमा जी ने अभी बोला कि यानी सलमा आपा ने अभी बोला कि हम जो इतनी बात नहीं करते लेकिन ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे बच्चों की सेफ्टी के लिए, हमारे खुद की सेफ्टी के लिए. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप जो ध्यान दें और अपने सिग्नल्स यूज करें. अगर आप बस के पीछे हैं या तो आगे, इसलिए कि बस को ज्यादा जगह चाहिए और ज्यादा टाइम चाहिए बस को रोकने के लिए, बस ड्राइवर्स को.
right.
तो आप उनकी हेल्प करें, वो आपकी हेल्प करेंगे तो आपके बच्चे जो है वो अपना सेफ्टी से घर पहुंचेंगे. तो इंशाल्लाह अगले हफ्ते तक मिलेंगे एक नए गेस्ट के साथ. जब तक आपका बहुत ज्यादा ख्याल रखेगा. मिलेंगे इंशाल्लाह. अल्लाह.
खुदा हाफिज.